Hello everyone, and welcome to the next installment of a video series looking at one research project from beginning to end. Today we are talking about displaying data. So the good news is this should be a relatively short one, in that displaying data is, once you have experience, is relatively straightforward. It can be something that people struggle a lot with when they're first starting in doing research because it's hard to know intuitively what the best way to display your data is. But when you have experience, you sort of figure it out pretty immediately. There's really three options. When we're talking about quantitative research, which is what we're doing, there are really three options. You can explain what's happening in words. You can display it in terms of tables. You can have a table that shows the results of your study, or you can have like a chart or a graph that shows the results of your study. And there are good and bad reasons to choose each one. So let's take a look.
Okay, so what this is just a simple Excel sheet. You can in SPSS also create figures and tables, but I prefer the way they look when you do them in Excel, so that's where I did them. On the left-hand side, you can see I've drawn up some tables with the descriptive information that, remember, we pulled from SPSS. Our very first analysis pulled the means and standard deviations. And on the left-hand side, you can see I have the means and standard deviations of each of those studies, of each of our dependent variables. At the top, I have them all together, and then I've broken them down individually below that. Then in the middle and to the right-hand side, we have graphs. Again, in the middle, they're all together. On the right-hand side, they're separated out. And the important thing here is that we're reporting the descriptives rather than the significance level, because the significance level tells us what to pay attention to and what we can interpret. But our interpretation is done either in text if we were writing a paper, and for this conference presentation, it'll be orally. I'll tell them where the significant differences are. But what I want them to be able to see is the meaning of those differences. What was the average score of children in the fiction group? What was the average score of children in the information group? Things like that. And the easiest way to do that, the quickest way to do it at a glance, is with figures. So I think for this presentation, I'm going to do figures. Probably the ones on the far right, because I like them broken down. Again, it makes it simple. So as soon as you look at it, you can tell what you're supposed to be seeing. The difference you're supposed to be paying attention to is a lot more obvious than it is for the one in the middle. Okay, so now that I've made that decision and I've made up those charts, that's pretty much it.
Okay, so that's how I'm going to display the data for this conference that I'm going to where I'm making a presentation. It's probably going to be different when I write it up, but that's what we have now. So thanks so much, guys. See you around.